And the benefit of this is just, this is a new layer that you can use for layering with other frontliner kicks or other sampled kicks again. And then you can use that layer to get some more layers again. And each sound that you're making with kicks is just basically another layer for your next kick. Hey guys, it's time for another kicking of the week. And for this kicking of the week, I wanted to show you, if you want to make a hardstyle kick, but you don't want to start from scratch, how you can make a new one from samples that aren't yours. So I think everyone knows, for example, the frontliner sample pack, and we're going to be using kicks from there to make our own kick. So I feel everyone knows you can layer kicks, and when you're using kicks that aren't your own, it's a little bit tricky because you want to have your own sound and you don't want people to recognize where the kicks are from, but you do want to have a good sounding kick. So we're just going to choose a few kicks from the sample pack from frontliner, and we're going to really focus on getting a new and unique sound instead of having the clearly audible frontliner kicks. So let's just choose a basic kick to start off with. I think this one's nice. And we're at G, but we won't pay attention to the notes because if it's an F or an A, we'll just pitch it to the right note. Maybe this one. So let's put them in their own mix channels. And I like to keep the top kick the most audible kick. It's just the way that I like to kind of organize my projects while I'm working on them. So even when I go back into an older project, I know how my layout was. So now we put them in the mixer channel. I'm just gonna pull them down and make sure, yeah, they're out the same note, that's good. I wanted to make sure that they were. And all of them are G1. And now I'm just gonna have a listen to what we want to do, what kind of result we want to get. Okay. So I'm thinking we can actually kind of get a raw kick out of this. Let's first layer these two. I feel these two can make a good layer together and then we'll distort them. So I'm just gonna pay attention to the tails first. The tails is what comes to mind first. I want to have a good character in there, and after that we're just gonna focus on the punch. So again, I'm just making sure that the kicks are in phase, and then we're gonna volume balance them. Okay, they're now in balance, and now we're gonna route them to bus, and we're gonna destroy this with some distortion. That's good. Maybe get some EQ going on. Let's make it a 2-count loop. And maybe I'll use shade for it, just to see if a nice comb filter will make a nice sound for this till. Helps, yeah. Now we want some more distortion on here. That's good. And let's put some more distortion on there. And after that we'll put an EQ in between them. Oh, whoa. When we change the order of this distortion, it's just changing the sound a lot. And I actually like this. It's really making a nice raw tail sound. So let's keep it in this order. I'm just quickly scanning with this dip what it would do if we would maybe dip some frequencies. Oh, here this helps, for example. It just gives a little bit more space back to the tail. Same with this one. Let's give a little bit back of that spot over there. Let's keep the sub where it is. Okay. So this is nice. And if you take all the effects away, we have this. And that's really audible, a frontliner kick. And when we put all this on there, this is a lot less audible as a frontliner kick. So we're going to sample this. And the punch actually is still quite intact as well, and that's nice. It saves some work from the kick later on. Now this is nice, and let's just add that third layer, the third kick that I had. Put this in a mixer channel. Pull it down a little bit and pull this up and see how the two layer together. Okay, it gives some extra depth. But we do actually already hear that the punch is too quiet for our tail. So let's just cut up the punch and the tail of our layered kick and make them separate. Oh, whoops, like this. And put it to a new mixer channel. This way we can give it some more volume on this punch. And then we can keep it in balance. But and as well we can focus on our only the tail. I think this is actually nice already. We don't need to do too much with this layer. It just provides our tail with some extra warmth that I would otherwise do in a Serum base layer that I've shown in my other tutorials. So this sounds nice. And maybe something we want to do to get our tail finished is adding one layer of Serum in there to create our own crunch. And to give this kick even more of our own sound. And let's take the filter off for now. Take the noise off and see if we can get a good sound first. I feel this is getting in the right direction. And let's just zero square this, because that's, in my opinion, a better distortion for tails. And let's get our basic filter back, and let's just start playing around from the basics again. maybe if we put some EQ in here, and that's gonna round up our low end a little bit. And then play a little bit with this frequency over here. Maybe we can get something nice out of this. Let's maybe make this one move as well. And maybe put another filter in here. I think we can make this work, but it just needs a little bit less lows, I think. So let's try to take this crunch, for example. It's a really fat crunch and that's nice. And let's put this under our tail and see if we can get a nice touch of our own to this layered kick. Now we don't need to have the end of that tail. And let's just make sure it's in phase. Let's maybe stretch it out a little, if the waveform allows it. Yeah, it's not getting too destroyed. Yes. Now apart from the punch, can you hear how we can create an entirely new sound just out of layered kicks and just adding one layer of our own? So yeah, I think this still's quite finished right now. And now we're just going to work a little bit on our punch. And for our punch we're just going to do the same thing. This punch is working quite well still right now with the extra distortion. But we might want to get some of the other layers back in there, the punches from other layers, for example, and we're just gonna layer them in there to get a better punch out of there again. Okay, so this could work like this with the other layer as well. And now if we route these two together, and first of all I'm going to play a little bit with the pogo, see if it changes the phase a little bit of this punch. As we have sound. I think I like this one at its position, and now let's try to make the other one pogo a little bit. We're still working with a solid point sound right now, but let's just shape them together with some EQ and distortion. Again, it's just going to be about getting that character right, and then we're going to finish up the low ends with a nice EDM kick. Now I'm just looking for the right frequency to boost. I'm not going to boost anything that's not in the sound right now. We're just going to focus on what the sound has right now, and the sound has the nicest punch around this region, so that's why I'm boosting this. If you'd want to get a lower punch out of this, I'd pitch down the whole sample and then start boosting lower. But right now, the punch doesn't even have any body over here, so we're just gonna boost where there is a solid sound already. Yes, like this. And maybe we can make it even more extreme. And let's see how this boosting sounds with the till. Because we do want to kind of boost the right region for the till as well, so it glues together more easily. Okay, so now we're boosting in the right region. We're gonna mute the till again. And what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna get a better punch sound out of this. And the way we're gonna do that is by just distorting it some more. And then EQing it some more as well. Yeah, without the tail of the punch, does it sound nice with our existing tail? Yeah, I think we're actually working in the right direction. Now let's pull this down. And let's make sure it's finished. Yeah, I like this, and let's export this, put it in here, put our tails over there, and cut that tail from our punch. Yes. Now let's get the punch and the tail to glue together. And let's put these in a little bus so it's more easy for us to balance the volume. Like this is balanced. feel. This is a better position. Okay. Now we're gonna do the same thing as we did with our tail. We're gonna do that with the punch as well. Punch sounds nice and it sounds unique. You can't hear that it's from a frontliner sample pack, but we're just gonna add another sample in there just to kind of make the punch a little bit clearer again. Let's see where it is. Over here. I think this punch can help us out a little bit. Let's boost you. And make sure you guys fit together. It's on an F, so we're just gonna pitch this up. And now we're gonna make sure they fit together. Nice. Okay, so this adds a little something to our punch again. And now we're just gonna get an EDM kick, club kick, how you want to call it, and we're gonna put that under there. And for these EDM kicks, I really like these thumpy, more upfront kicks. So yeah, just choose whatever you like. Let's see if we mute you and put everything down. We want to make this work together. So we're gonna start from scratch again, just with you. And they're just a little bit off pitch. Yes, this is better. This is better, but now the balancing is off. Just a little bit more or less. Yes. Now we're gonna give you some more highs. And add our next layer. And this way we go from this, which is a solid sound again, to a more detailed and layered punch. Now let's change this up a tiny bit. And I like how this sounds. Let's put the tail back in there and see how they sound together. Now this sounds nice, but in my opinion it's not distorted enough. So we're just gonna route the two together. And we're just gonna distort this with disto effects, for example. I really like this plugin to get this extra distorted layer. We're just gonna blast that open. Try to maybe play a little bit with shade, get a new sound out of here. And then we're gonna layer that under there. Okay, now this is nice. The EQ was after the distortion. I wanted it to be in front, didn't pay attention to that. Perhaps like this. Yes, this creates some extra crunch. And now we'll layer this back in there to get a nice sounding kick. Take the effects of our buzz. Put this one in the mixer channel. Play it around a little bit, see if we are in phase at the moment. Turns out we are. Now we need to tame down this sub a little bit. So we're gonna route you to our tails buzz. Shape this a little bit with EQ. And put you guys back together. Now on here I'm still feeling this isn't distorted enough, so let's just try to put a no distortion in here. Now I ended up disliking this, and now I want to go back and rework a little bit of the things, maybe a little bit of the phasing to get it sounding right. I feel the sounds in here are good, but we didn't use them in the right way. So let's first get our punch good. Let's see where you're at, put you over here. So this is good. Let's maybe put a little pogo on here to get it a little bit more snappy. Maybe like this. Put you on the hair. And lift the volume up or pull this one down a little bit. Put you in here. Make it move a tiny bit just to be sure that it fits completely. Fits like this. Now this sounds nice. Has the right amount of highs and it sounds balanced. Now let's get our tail back in there. Without the punch first. So this was our main layer. this one's just here for the warmth. And this one should just give an extra crunch. And maybe we should scroll down this waveform a little bit. This should work. Now I think this layer was a little bit too hard in the mix, which made it way too obnoxious. That's just way too unfinished, and pulling it down a little bit, it just gives some subtle movement, and that's what I needed in here. And this is already sounding a lot more finished. Let's see what happens when we change the stretching up a little bit. This sounds okay. And it sounds nice in a loop. And now let's put this final layer in there, if we even need it anymore. Ooh, this might get our tail a little bit too loud. It was routed to our tail, yes. Let's just route it, mix it in there without the punch and make sure that it sounds good. And after that we'll balance it out with the punch. Yes, that sounds good. Now what happens when we just move this a little bit? Nah, let's just keep it where it was. And I think this actually sounds quite nice. You can export this and just use this in your own tracks, because as you hear, it's not really a frontliner kick anymore. And the benefit of this is just, this is a new layer that you can use for layering with other frontliner kicks or other sampled kicks again. And then you can use that layer to get some more layers again. And each sound that you're making with kicks is just basically another layer for your next kick. And even though this one might not be as perfect and finished as I would use in my own tracks right now, I would save this and I would maybe use this as a tail layer or a punch layer for a new kick of mine. I hope you liked it and I hope you learned something from this. And I hope to see you back soon again. Thank you for watching. Cheers.